Welcome, Eric. How are you doing today?
I'm doing amazing, Joel. Thank you so much for having me. I'm really grateful.
Mhm. No, I appreciate you being here with me. And to the audience, welcome to another episode of My Favorite Parts. I'm here with Mr. Eric McHugh. He's the president of ShopX Labs and the chief growth officer at Daddying. And I appreciate you being here. I've been trying to get a more of a grasp on having guests that I don't personally know. I've had a lot of people that know me and do a lot of the podcast with me, but I've always been interested in meeting people that are new to me and from different walks of life. So you're probably the second person that I'm interviewing that I haven't had a personal relationship with, which I'm very excited for, and I appreciate you being here.
No, of course. And honestly, podcasting, it's a really good way to meet a bunch of cool people. So
Mhm.
I get stuff out of this too. Podcast hosts, I found they're a lot
Mhm.
of the networky, chill, like to
Mhm.
talk, like to learn types. So that's my kind of person.
Yeah, I've through how we met through a program that we've been using. The networking possibilities are so awesome, and I can't imagine like what's in store for the future. But tell us a little bit about yourself if you'd like.
Sure, it's nice to meet everyone. My name is Eric. I'm 31 years old. I'm blessed to be living in beautiful Southern California. My main
Nice.
hobbies are it's Seattle's cool too though, but
Yeah.
yeah, the coast, like the
Yeah.
west coast of the United States, honestly is pretty hard to beat.
Mhm.
But yeah, my hobbies are chess, Muay Thai, reading. I like to get as much sun as possible, and meditation.
Mhm.
Last year, and this is my plug. Last year, I went to a Vipassana meditation retreat in Joshua Tree, California. It was a beautiful, transformative experience. 10 days
Mhm.
of full silence. It's completely free. There's centers all over the world. I think it's something everyone should check out. So if that interests you, just check it
Mhm.
out. I think it's worth it. In terms of what I do for work, I believe that everyone is happiest when they're serving other people, and I
Mhm.
also believe in
I
the
agree.
power. Yeah, right. Like ask for $20 and give out $20. You know which one feels better.
Yeah.
But I also believe in the power of authenticity, meaning I'm the number one me in the world. If you try to be me, you can't beat me at being me, and no one else can. But at the same time, if I try to be you, I can't
Mhm.
beat you at being you because you're the number one you in the world. So if logically you're trying to serve as many people as you possibly can, the
Mhm.
best way to do that is to follow your own natural intellectual curiosity because again, you're number one in the world. And this led me to be part of two different companies. The first is ShopX Web3 Ecommerce, so we're tokenizing the world's products. The second is Data Inc., and that's the first ever AI powered matchmaking service.
That sounds awesome. And I mean, it takes a lot to even put yourself out there. I mean, even with like trying to start the podcast, starting something on your own takes a lot, and there's a lot of like self doubt. So the fact that you can do two things out of that, the ShopX and the dating, I applaud you because it takes a lot to even go out of
No,
your comfort zone even a little bit.
no, and I think it's really important that you mentioned something because putting myself out there is what led to it.
Hmm.
So with the first ShopX thing, I used to be a consultant. Not that it really
Hmm.
matters, but I wasn't
Hmm.
fulfilled with that, so I quit my job.
Hmm.
I started going to local. I started putting myself because I'm pretty introverted, but I'm like, okay, I want to meet some people in the cryptocurrency space. I met the original ShopX team at like a bar in Los Angeles at a cryptocurrency meetup. We've been working on that ever since. So that was a while ago. And a couple years back, I was on a podcast tour for ShopX, and I was on a podcast called The Crypto Economy. It's run by this dude. It's run by this dude named Mark, and he's the CEO of Dotting. So I went on that
Hmm.
podcast. We stayed in touch afterwards. Like we shared reels and Twitter and all that
Hmm.
stuff. And then all of a sudden, this like Cupid AI thing started following me. I'm like, what is this? We hopped on a phone call, and he's like, oh, I'm thinking of building out an AI powered matchmaking service because of the Chat GPT and all that stuff coming out of the time.
Hmm.
Timing is right, so I've been building those two ever since, and neither would have happened if I didn't put yourself out there because I think of everything in terms of energy, frequency, and vibration. So
Yeah.
when you are saying you're a certain emotional level, like let's say I'm saying I'm sad, I'm angry,
Hmm.
I'm loving, I'm joyous, all you're saying is you're operating at a specific frequency.
Hmm.
And just like a radio station, if you turn to that specific station, you get that station. So if
Hmm.
you're in the specific frequency of whatever emotion you feel, you're turning to that frequency. And that's why like angry people attract angry people, loving people attract loving people, happy people attract happy people. So I was in the service frequency, and that's just kind of how I meet all the people. It's funny, like when you're in that, like my goal is to help as many people as possible.
Hmm.
The right people always come into play. Like they always appear when the timing is right, and you can't get that unless you're authentic. Because if you're not
Good.
authentic, you're not being authentic, and you're not putting out
Yeah.
the right vibes.
I 100% agree with that, and it's a refreshing thing to hear that because if you should put out what you want to get
Yeah.
stuff in a sense. So
You,
if I'm understanding that correctly,
yeah, you get what you give.
yeah,
Good or good
and
or good or bad, whichever way you want to
yeah.
look at it.
And with that being said, I appreciate you explaining a little bit about yourself. I do know that some of the items you're going to talk about are going to incorporate some of these items, so I'm excited for you to go into them a little bit more, and I'm sure the audience is going to be excited. But without further ado, if you're ready to get into the nitty gritty of it, we can go ahead and get into your favorite parts.
Yeah, let's do it.
Awesome. So the first one that you put down for your favorite parts is going to be AI matchmaking. You went into a little bit about that during your introduction, but if you can go into a little bit more in depth and tell the audience why that's one of your favorite parts.
Yeah, so this is one of my favorite parts because I view the dating marketplace as something that's completely broken. And I think human happiness is very important. And I think connection between other humans is extremely important. And I think
Yeah.
that's been going the wrong way because of apps, because of Instagram. So AI dating is the first ever AI powered matchmaking service, and we our intention is to help balance the scales. So the main problems with the dating apps today is, like, I think most people can meet online or meet in person, but most people are gearing towards meeting online because of the lack of rejection buffer. Like, it's easier to swipe right on Tinder than go approach a girl in person. So the three main problems in the dating app marketplace today are, first off, it's hot or not. Like, there's, are they good looking? Yes or no? Swipe left, swipe right. This results in the top 5% of users getting access to everyone on the app, creating a skewed marketplace. And the third thing is the incentive structure. So if you think about Tinder, well, they're all owned by Match.com. How do they make their money? They make their money from paid subscriptions. If a happy couple meets on the app, they leave the app. That means Tinder loses a paying customer. This isn't good for them because they're working with Goldman Sachs. Goldman
Mhm.
Sachs would sell it their mother for $5. So they yeah, right. They rely on something called churn marketing. So that's keeping
Mhm.
someone on a Ferris wheel. So if you ever heard of someone download the app, delete the app, download the app, delete the app, that's all by design. So what dating does is, I like to say, we put our users in the position to succeed. So what we do is we auto generate a dating profile for you based on your digital footprint, and then create matches based on other users' digital footprint with the goal of getting you on that date. So I could create my profile. It's like, okay, I get my three matches. Like, okay, Jane seems cool. Tell me more about Jane. She connected her Facebook. She's the youngest, you're the oldest. Our pattern recognition software says that works well. She connected her Instagram. Oh, you all both go to a bunch of national parks. Fantastic. Oh, she connected her Pinterest. Oh, she connected her Spotify. You both follow one obscure Spotify artist. Did you know they have a concert coming up? Oh, great. Would you like me to suggest this day with Jane? At that
Mhm.
point, Jane sees me. She's like, okay. She sees the profile based on like who I am as it on based on digital footprint. If she accepts the date, it shows up on our calendar. We go on the date, and this is where it differentiates dating from other apps.
Mhm.
Is if I like the service, I like the date it suggests. I pay for the date directly within the app. Dating will get a commission from that. So our incentive is to get people on dates. And even after the match is made, we can work as a
Mhm.
relationship butler. So I can be like, okay, you guys haven't been on a date in 3 months. Would you like me to recommend this babysitting service for the kids? The place you have the second date has half off sale of ice cream. I can book it for you. We book it, bam. Or it's
Mhm.
like, oh, her birthday's coming up. Um, she just added this thing to her Pinterest board. Oh, might be a good gift. And dating is just like the initial marketplace because it's just easy to penetrate. But like, this can work across the board. So I can be like, find me 5 guys in my local area who are into Muay Thai, into meditation, who would like tacos. You can find me those guys. We can meet up. We can hang out. Or let's
Mhm.
say we meet up in person for the first time. We can tap our phones together, and it'll show us what it would recommend something for us to do, even if it's our first time meeting. Like, oh, you guys both like hot chocolate. There's a donut shop down the street. I recommend checking that out.
Mhm.
So it's really a way to help drive connections.
I now that you mentioned that, and from what you explained, it does seem like a good option for people. I like the fact you guys emphasize the dating part of it, because it gives you an incentive to go out and actually meet people, which is supposed to be the purpose, and that you guys don't focus on people just staying on the app.
Oh yeah.
The From like personal experience, I've tried not necessarily dating, but going in and trying to meet friends on like some of those apps and things like that. And sometimes it seems like people are so like antisocial. They'll get in, and they'll pull back, or don't seem to incentivize to actually meet up in person. So me personally, from my experience, it's good that you guys have something that is making people want to actually meet up and stuff, even if it's not a date.
Yeah, no, that's the whole point. And the way we're structuring it is like as little actual conversation as possible. Like the chat will set it up and the back end is there. So meaning you guys don't know each other, but there's stuff in common. So in our example, like it specifically said that, oh, you guys both follow us on Spotify, or just would you like me to make this date? But let's say it didn't say that, but
Mhm,
that's it's still matched because of that. So that can come up organically. And that's
mhm,
just another talking point you could have in common. So it's finding
yeah,
those like because what AI is really good at, it's just really good at pattern recognition for clusters. So like it's
mhm,
like hypothetically, let's say people with like large headsets just happen to go along more with people who wear black shirts. I know those seem completely random, but if enough people are on the app and enough correlations made between those two attributes, it'll start matching more and more people based on those attributes. So the cool thing
mhm,
about the app is the longer it's exists, the smarter it gets. So like, let's say you're on the app, you say no,
mhm,
no, no, no to the people it's giving you the people are the same. It'll pick up on that and tweak who it's matching you with, and then hopefully, because so the more you're on the app, the better chance you have to find that match.
mhm,
And yeah, no, you're right about the incentive structure, about people ghosting and people dealing off. So that's why we focus on getting on the dates so we're not wasting anyone's time, which is very
mhm,
important because time is an opportunity cost. If you spend time like just aimlessly chatting with the wrong person who's just there
mhm,
for attention, that's time taken away from finding the right person, which honestly no one wins. And I we've seen
mhm,
this on present day apps where people are just like, honestly mainly chicks are doing it, but like they're just like endlessly doing it for attention. So we want to get the data in as soon as possible, and we're building out a karma system, so like it'll reward good and bad behavior based on
mhm.
like just respectable behavior.
Yeah, no, and I agree with that because I mean, personally, I'm single and everything, and sometimes the things you're explaining is what
Yeah,
most people would look for. You don't want to waste your time with people and somebody that's just trying to get some attention and wasting your time when you're actually invested into finding something.
and
Um,
on top of that, a lot of the
mhm,
people you are talking to on dating apps are bots, so there's that. And this is more of a conspiracy theory on my side. There's no proof, but I because I downloaded a bunch of apps to test them out. So
mhm,
I think of it as a funnel. So most dating
mhm.
apps are owned by Match.com. Like,
Oh, I didn't know that.
so there's a like a monopoly on that. So once a
Mhm,
dating app reaches a certain amount of users, Match will try to buy them. But I
mhm,
think it's a funnel towards like the OnlyFans cargo thing. So let's say you download one of the more major apps, like let's say you start with Tinder, you download it, you don't do well. They have your info, then you'll start getting ads for like random ads. So like I downloaded Tinder, it's like I put in my preferences, and I start getting ads for those specific type of preferences for just, me
mhm,
just happening to be fitness and Asian girl. So like I'm like, oh, try this Asian girl app, try this fitness app. And then it
mhm,
does, and you fail on that, it just sends you more and more obscure ones. Eventually, it's getting like Ukraine ones. So because you're failing on that, it's just feeding you more and more into cycle. And I think the end of the funnel is like
mhm,
OnlyFans, call girl type things where most people are so miserable and failing so much on apps that they want to
mhm,
get you there because that's where they make a bunch of money. But again, completely conspiracy theory is just what I've noticed. Of like, so what I
mhm,
think is happening is I think they're like, because I put in my like I put in what I wanted, like the preferences I was looking for. So
mhm.
I think that it has all the data of those users and just fills out those apps with other users. So like I put it, I'm Filipino white, so if someone's looking at a Filipino app, they probably will see me even though I'm not on the app, type of thing. And then you're just like, oh, because it seems cool. It's like, oh, this is the exact type
Mhm.
of person I'm looking for. Oh, this is exactly who I want. Why is this not working? These are the people I want. Oh, it looks like I have to pay. You pay, and then it gets you again, sends you more down the funnel. It's just like, oh, so you're paying. He's already down to pay. He's not like getting anything out of it. Let's send him the more obscure one.
Yeah,
So
it's not if they're getting your money; it's where they're getting your money from. So,
yeah, yeah.
but with that being said, is with that dating the AI matchmaking, is there something out of it that's particularly like your favorite part? Do you have like something that you got from it as far as like an experience or anything?
I just like the intention of it. So the intention is actually to
Hmm,
match people who could potentially get along. Just because like
hmm,
the cool thing about dotting is it's really good at reading data and it gets from multiple
hmm,
sources, so it gets complete picture. So it's putting
hmm,
people on the back end who it thinks will get along. And the cool thing is it's going to get smarter and smarter and better. So like the longer it's alive, the better it gets at matchmaking. And for me, the personal, I think it's a high impact thing for me. It's like everything about like every couple that AI matches and starts a whole happy family. I think that's a really cool impact for a person to make on the world, especially if they can do it at scale. So I
I
think
hundred,
that's it. I think
I
that's
hundred, I 100% agree with that. I mean, if you can change your life, even if it's just one or two, I mean,
yeah,
that's a big difference in the world when you think
yeah.
about it. So,
And families are important. So
yeah, no. So I applaud you for you even giving that a shot, and it looks like it looks like it's heading in the right direction.
that's a team. Like because AI,
Mhm,
AI is inherently neutral. To like AI, all technology is inherently neutral. So
mhm.
our team is trying to do something positive with it. So the more builders who build stuff with positive intention, the better it is for
Mhm.
everyone.
And we all need a little bit more positivity. So I appreciate you guys doing that.
Yeah.
With that being said, that takes us on to our next favorite part for you. It's going to be if I'm pronouncing it correctly, Web3 e-commerce.
Yeah, so that's the other company at ShopX. So to give
Mm-hmm.
you a bit of backstory why I got to
Mm-hmm.
Bitcoin and cryptocurrency, my overall goal was to live a nice, peaceful life. I felt that to be more difficult if the money system was corrupt. Me finding out the money system was corrupt, aka stealing from me, stealing from you every second of every day, funding God knows what, just yeah, like But yeah, like
Yeah.
funding God knows what. That led me to find physical gold and physical silver as a solution. So I'm like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
this seems like it could help. And then Bitcoin for me was the next evolution of that. Like, okay, I found physical gold and physical silver. Oh, Bitcoin makes the most sense. And ShopX is a way for me to onboard people into that ecosystem at scale by incentivizing them to want to learn more. So ShopX is a Web3 platform where e-commerce brand can download an
Mm-hmm.
app and interact with the Web3 space. We're working with some major brands like Fox. So like let's say hypothetically we work with a major brand like Nike. They
Mm-hmm.
use our products and services. They launch a Web3 based product for 1 million of their customers. 1 million of their customers want the e-commerce utility that comes with a Web3 based product. If they want that utility, they have to interact with the space. They have to own that Web3 product. And that's a 0 to 1 moment at scale. So like not all of those 1 million customers will research it, but who knows? Maybe 10,
Mm-hmm.
20, 30, 40% will. And now that they have skin in the game, they have incentive, they're much more likely to go down the learning path itself. And again, like you can't force anyone to learn about anything. Like if I told you
Mm-hmm.
you have to learn about XYZ, you'd be like, no. If you told me to learn about XYZ, I'd be like, no. But like it's like, oh, it's something you own, it's something you're interested in, and you have reason to. That's all
Mm-hmm.
we're trying to do. So we're trying to speed up Web3 mass adoption. The reason I'm so passionate about Bitcoin and cryptocurrency is I think it builds a this ties to AI too, but I think Bitcoin it creates a society where the incentive is value creation versus value extraction. So let's
Mm-hmm.
say hypothetically, if I want to become, and I view money as neutral, like it's to me, it's just energy. If you make a
Mm-hmm.
lot of money by helping a lot of people, that's fantastic, good for you. But so like, if I want to become really rich today without doing anything, how do
Mm-hmm.
I do this? I place myself right next to the money printer, aka the Federal Reserve. I extract as much wealth as I possibly can. That's saying from me. That's saying from you. Now that I'm extracting as much wealth as I can, I share with my friends, and now there's corrupt people. So like this is the problem with I think our current government. It's like this: the corruption starts at the top because they have access to the money. So like, let's say one politician, they're corrupted by the Fed. Now they have unlimited money. They'll beat the politician who doesn't have any money because he has the backing of the lobbying. He has all that backing. Now
Mm-hmm.
he's in power. He brings in two more people like that, and now there's
Mm-hmm.
three corrupt people, and then just spreads like that. Whereas in
Mm-hmm.
a Bitcoin world, if I wanted to if I want to become rich, the only way for me to become rich is to produce as much value as I can for a lot of people. So like if I wanted your Bitcoin, how do I get your Bitcoin? Well, I can't inflate it away. I can't take it away from you. I have to produce something of value for you. And
Mm-hmm.
then if you find that valuable, you send me your Bitcoin, you get the product, I get the Bitcoin. We're both happy. And if that's the subconscious mindset at scale, like not just like in our generation, but like 3, 4 generations down the line, I think our society is going to be a good place if everyone's just like thinking like how, because everyone, I think most people want to become rich. Maybe they want the
Mm-hmm.
freedom. No one cares about the money. But like, if the way to do that is to produce value, that's just a different way of thinking. I think that unlocks a lot of potential.
Yeah, and it kind of seems, in my opinion, just I mean, I'm obviously have to do more research on it, but it just seems like it's making like a level playing field for everybody. It
Yeah,
kind of simple, yeah. Versus somebody dictating what somebody is, if I'm correct.
yeah, no, that's exactly right. Actually,
Yeah, no, I think that does sound awesome. Um, Same thing that I asked before. Is there something in particular about it that excites you about it, or that makes you your favorite part?
I like the whole quality thing of it. So like
Mm-hmm.
the qual, well the I like how it breaks the current system, which I think is just weighing a bunch of
Mm-hmm.
people down, and it brings accountability to the people in power. And my favorite part is the value creation. It's like, okay, how to become rich? You have to create a bunch of value. So that's actually my favorite part because, like, it's not just our generation, but like second, third, fourth generation order effects
Mm-hmm.
combined with AI. I think people are going to create some cool stuff because, like, if you think about like AI, it's a tool for people to leverage to enhance their natural skills to do something cool. And if their incentive is now to add value, they can better leverage AI to join a global currency, like a global economy of cryptocurrency, then use AI to build their products and services, which they're passionate about. So it elevates from most people are in a scarcity mindset right now just because everyone like inflation and too much money printing.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I think it's the first step to putting us in an abundant mindset. And if the more people are in an abundant mindset, the better it is for everyone.
Yeah, I agree with that. I always feel like people should have. I mean, me personally, I'm always been a half glass full person, which I feel like most people should have. But from even the Web3 e-commerce, the AI matchmaking, that what I like so far about the everything you've discussed, it seems like you're trying to make some positive changes, not just for yourself, but a bunch of people. And I think that's always something that's good. And we need a lot more of that.
Yeah, no, it's both. I'm trying to make positive changes for myself and other people.
Mhm.
It's
Yeah.
we're all part of the same collective.
Yeah. No, and I appreciate you again. I appreciate you doing that and explaining that for me and for the audience.
Yeah, no worries.
Awesome. And that takes us to our last favorite part for you before we move on with the show. And the last thing that you brought up, and something that I am interested just from the terminology for, is quantum spirituality. So if you want to go ahead and tell the audience why that's one of your favorite parts, also.
Yeah, so that's more of a woo. It's like more of a made up term, but it's a
Hmm.
spiritual practice with practical benefits that try to relate back to science. So it's like how meditation. So I believe in the quantum, where there's an infinite number of possibilities happening in this specific moment. The one we're paying attention to is the one that we're experiencing is the one we're giving attention to. So that's also why I think it's so important to remain positive. Because if you focus on the positive, that's where your attention is going, and where your attention goes, your energy flows. So if you're focusing on positive stuff, you get more and more positive stuff. If you focus on negative stuff, you get more and more negative stuff. So that's pretty much just what quantum spirituality is. I think it's also interesting how stuff that they're learning in science, like the energy, frequency, and vibration thing, that came from Tesla, but that was written about like thousands of years ago by like some of the ancient secret societies and all those ancient texts. So they nailed all of that stuff specifically thousands of years ago, and now we're just learning it now. So that's pretty much it. Is just like it's a spiritual practice that's applied to real life.
Spiritual practice applied to real life. I did see that quote that was on your, I think it was on your profile, the one that I think you just mentioned about Tesla.
Yeah.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty cool too. With the quantum spirituality, you said that it was more of a term that you came up for yourself. But what is that like? What does that do for you, and how have you incorporated it into your life?
Yeah, so it helps me. The term itself, it just helps me to name things. Like, so
Hmm.
like whenever I'm training or something, I name my tasks. So like, this is just another version of like, it doesn't really need a name, but it created a positive base for everything. So I'm a meditation practice, I'm my spiritual practice. I have my mindset. So it's the base of the mindset. It's the base of being positive. It's the base of creating companies to help anything. So it's
Hmm.
just something in the background that affects everything, but it's hard to put your finger on it.
Awesome. Is there something in that in particular that that triggered this, or is this just something you always had?
It was a progression type of thing where
Hmm.
it's like, okay, I first learned about Bitcoin. I started reading. I started entrepreneurship journey. I started getting exposed to different spiritual practices. I started meeting different people. Like a while back, I was fortunate to be at one of the top VC incubators in the world, which is essentially just startup school. So during
Hmm.
that time, I networked my way around like CEOs, CTOs of different startups at different levels in different fields, trying to absorb as much information as it could. I noticed that everyone in the most successful position always had like a spiritual practice, so that's what piqued my interest. So
Hmm.
I started my own. I started reading specific books, tried to meditate, didn't really work. And then once I started that, it's like when the student is ready, the teacher prepares itself. So at that point, all the right people started showing up, the right information started showing up, the right downloads started happening. But I think what really peaked it was that meditation retreat I did last year. So that was a really impactful experience for me where just like that's where I
Hmm.
honed it in. And after I came back from that, I've been better than ever.
That's awesome. I do like hearing that. I don't think a lot of people would know the information that you shared. That from what you're experienced, a lot of people that are successful do like meditation and things like that, um, which I think would encourage more people to do it because obviously everybody wants to be successful.
Yeah.
But just personally too, in my place, I started doing therapy a couple months ago, and that was something that they really tried to advise of trying to do it and just be of doing meditation. So the fact that it seems like you're proof that something like that does help people is encouraging also.
Yeah. Meditation is probably the best thing I started.
For somebody that is interested in getting into it, like including myself, what is your first advice to somebody that would want to try to get started?
Yeah. So the first thing, my first advice would be it's like, oh, when you start, your body's going to trick you out of it. It's going to be like, oh, this is stupid. Why am I sitting here? So you have to treat your body like a dog. So start in your room. First off, have the same meditation place you use every day. Just sit in
Mhm.
your room, get into pose, be like, okay, I'm going to sit here for 5 minutes. Once you start doing that, your body's like, oh, this is dumb. I don't need this. I need to check your phone. I have to check my emails. I have to get a drink of water. It's going to start making up excuses in your head. But you're like, no, in 5 minutes, you'll be fine. You're going to sit here for 5 minutes. So what's happening is your
Hmm.
thoughts are going to come up. So just think of like a email inbox that you haven't opened your whole life. It's just gonna be a bunch of emails. You're just like, I'm overwhelmed. But meditation is just slowly addressing each individual thought over and over again until the email inbox gets clear, it gets more clear, and then you can have better decisions. So like after a while, it's pretty calming.
Hmm.
A good Kickstarter would be to try binaural beats. You can just YouTube that. What that is it two different frequencies in different headphones, so it forces your mind into a specific frequency. That can help with a transit, like putting in a trance state. Of course, like guided meditations helps as well. So the specific method I use, it's what I learned at the meditation retreat. It's the one the Buddha used to reach enlightenment. It's called Vipassana meditation.
Hmm.
So that retreat was pretty intense. It was like 10 full days of full meditation, no phone, no water, no looking at anyone, no talking with anyone, just meditation the whole time.
Hmm.
So the first 3 days you focus on the area around your nostril. You start to pick up different sensations. And then from there you scan your body back and forth every inch. And what this does, it extracts the traumas that have been you've
Hmm.
stored throughout your whole life in the form of different sensations. And you just so it's like if you're a scientist trying to send something to space and you need the metal to be 100% pure,
Hmm.
you would run it through magnets and that extracts the impurities. So what you're doing is on a spiritual level doing that. So you're extracting the traumas you've stored throughout your whole life. And after that, after you extract the traumas, you become a positivity generator versus negativity generator. So it's just a consistent practice. And if I were to suggest times to meditate, right when you wake up is right when you have the door to the subconscious open and right before you go to sleep. So that's always a good time. But yeah, no, like I wake up, I use my meditation, I set my intention for the day. Like all the
Hmm.
podcasts are going to go well, the calls are going to go well. They tend to go well. And if you go back to the quantum where the reality that you're experiencing is the one you're paying attention to. So
Hmm.
because I set the meditation in the morning, it's like, oh, everything's going to go well. Things tend to go well. And yeah.
No, I think that's awesome, and I think that's a great way to start. And I like the way you when you explain how you started and the thoughts that you go through when you first start the meditation. It's similar to the things that's happened like the couple times that I've tried to do in the first place. So you saying that, and to anybody that's trying to start, I think that's good hearing that feedback from you so that they can know to keep pushing on and everything. So I appreciate you saying that.
No, of course. Yeah, it's like going to the gym. It's like if you go to the
Mhm.
gym once a month, it's probably not going to do much, but it's the consistency thing that's really useful.
Yeah, and I agree. I think it takes you building a habit to get the most out of it. So
Yeah.
awesome. And then that does end the favorite parts part of the show. Next, we're going to go into my two favorite questions. The first one is kind of a loaded question because there's, I believe, five answers for it.
Yeah.
So, if without further ado, it has to do with your five senses. So again, everybody has their five senses: taste, touch, sight, smell, sound. And again, we're looking for what your favorite of each is, and not just what's your favorite out of them. So if you want, I can give you the first one, or if you have one off the top of your head that we can go into, you can start. If not, I'll just start shooting random ones at you.
Yeah, so my favorite sounds right now is probably touch. It was never touch. I always thought touch was like the
Mhm.
least favorite. Like usually it'd probably be sight or taste, but
Yeah.
because of the meditation retreat, so what happens is you're bringing your attention over and over again. So like think of like an ice box where it's like your attention's
Mhm.
here, you start to pick up a different sensation. The better you
Mhm.
get at it, the better smaller you can do like a dot. So like if when you start, it'll probably be like this, but when you get
Mhm.
good, it becomes like microscopic. And then
Oh.
when you get in the flow, you can feel like each individual cell, you can feel the energy going back and
Mhm.
forth in the cells. You can start sending it back and forth through your body, which I think
Mhm.
it's hard to do just because I was able to do it just because like in the meditation retreat, like that's all you like I can't do it really right
Mhm.
now, but like in the
Mhm.
meditation retreat, it's all you did. So you meditate all day, like starting at 4 to
Mhm.
the end, and you're around a bunch of people doing the same thing. So that obviously helps. But once you get into flow meditation, you can feel the energy going back up into each individual cell and back and forth.
Mhm.
Which honestly it's like an anime type thing, but it's super cool.
Yeah. No, I honestly, out of every time I do this with somebody, I keep getting like good answers, and I've never had somebody give an answer like that. Because for your touch, it's the sensation that you're getting during the meditation and everything.
Yeah.
And I think that's so cool because most people, when they think about touch, they think about stuff they can actually feel, but you forget that sometimes you can feel things without actually like feeling, if that makes sense.
No, that's true. And the cool thing is, if you feel stuff without it actually happening,
Mhm.
your body still reacts to it like it's actually happening. Which is why it's
Yeah.
having a positive mindset is so
Mhm.
important.
Mhm.
Because let's say you're always in a negative mindset, what's happening? Like imagine like when we were cavemen, it's like if you're being chased by a tiger, you're in fight or flight mode because you're being chased by a tiger. But as soon as the tiger goes away, you're back to good mode. So you're producing different chemicals.
Mm-hmm.
But today, where everyone's like stressors are just following them around 24/7, everyone's in constant fight or flight mode. They're producing the chemicals of stress, which is bad for overall health terms. So meditation really just helps with that.
No, that's awesome. Again, that's the first time I've gotten an explanation for that for somebody's touch, but I love it personally. I mean, the way you kind of explain it, it kind of make. I don't know if you've heard. Well, I'm sure you've heard of it. How people talk about the phantom pain, like when
Oh
they've
yeah,
lost, them, and they can still sometimes they'll get that sensation of feeling from the limb that they're not having anymore. But it kind of reminded me of that a little bit. But without further ado, the next one, I'll give you the next one. What's your favorite smell?
uh, trees, nature. I like nature. I like the fresh, like mountain trees, specifically like high up mountains by like
Mhm.
glacial lakes where you're walking a trail by nature. So that's my favorite smell.
Yeah. Is it like does it bring back a memory, or is it just something that you tend to hike a lot?
So this particular one's veil, and it's also a meditation tactic
Hmm.
too. It's like if you just imagine a place you're really connected to everyone, where you experience a bunch
Hmm.
of love, you just visualize that, and then it all comes back. So it's a place I like to meditate and go to when I'm
Hmm.
bored.
That's
I
awesome.
do like to hike. I like to. I think I try to spend as
Hmm.
much time as I can in nature. I live
Hmm.
in a place where there are hiking trails available within like 5-10 minutes. So I try to take advantage of that as much as I can, and I try to leave. It's cool if you can do it midday and you don't have your
Hmm.
phone or anything. So that's always cool because the nature takes. I think the nature takes away the negative energy.
No, I agree with that, and it's good to always unplug every once in a while and get back to what brought us here, which is nature. So
Yeah.
um, I'll let you choose the next one.
Let's do sites. So my favorite thing is again so it all circles back to meditation because like I
Hmm.
said, it's like a base and it's not like I planned for this, but
Hmm.
I like to notice patterns and everything. So like when you're staring at trees, when you're staring at people, and you see like the geometrical patterns and everything,
Hmm.
that's a different type of mindset. So like when I'm walking around, I'll look at the trees, you'll see like the patterns,
Hmm.
of the sun going through. So like just noticing all of that is super cool. Or like when you're watching a butterfly fly in the same pattern, I think that's really interesting. So
I think so too, because especially now with everything, how you mentioned how everybody's on their phones, everybody's detached from everything. I feel like some people lose sight of like how beautiful everything is,
yeah,
like in front of us and stuff. So I think it's good that you actually take time and notice those things.
yeah. No, I mean, yeah, like like so much stuff is happening. We're missing most of the things. So like if you take time to notice the good stuff, you just notice more of the good stuff. So it's not
Hmm.
like you're kind of creating your reality too. And that way, it's like if you notice more of the good stuff, you just keep noticing the good stuff, and then more good
Yeah.
stuff comes, and it's like a self fulfilling prophecy, which can
Hmm.
what I think it is I think people are jumping on different timelines. Like like there's different
Hmm.
timelines. So I think the more positive stuff you happen, like you're just going up and up on a timeline.
Hmm.
But at the same
Yeah.
time, it could be a slippery slope. Like for example,
Hmm.
let's say in 10 minutes I have a really bad business call or whatever the case may be, and like I have a choice to make. What do I want to do? Do I want to grab beer, grab a shot, drink? What will happen if I take that drink? Okay, that's going to bad time, and I'll probably just order some healthy food. I'll probably just watch TV or something, and that's putting me on the bad time. And whereas I'm like, okay, well, I had this stressful call, let me go on a run, let me go on a walk, let me work out. That's putting myself on
Hmm.
a positive timeline. So I believe in the law of cause and effect, meaning there's a cause for everything.
Hmm.
So if you think of that in your decision making process, where like every decision you make is like, does this good for me, or does this bad for me, or does it serve me, or does it not? You make the choice that serves with you, and the same applies for thoughts as well. So
No, I agree with that, and I always positive reinforcement is always a good thing. I feel one thing I've agreed with you the whole show that we've had today is that if you think positively, you do positive things. I feel like it comes back to you.
it compounds.
Yeah,
Yeah, the
and
negativity compounds too. So it's up
yeah,
to you. It's up to
yeah,
you.
yeah. How you want to do it? So
Yeah. Yes. I would choose the positive one, but you do you.
yeah. So that leaves us with two more. So we got taste and sound.
Uh, taste probably. I made a bunch of watermelon lately. So what I do is I have a watermelon down the. I
Mhm.
always eat watermelon. I like fruit. So I
That's it's my favorite fruit too, and it's my favorite taste also. So
so what I've been doing recently, to cut the top off, I just eat with a spoon, but I have a lemon too, so I squeeze the lemon on the top, and then it seeps to the bottom. So I just started that. That's pretty enjoyable. Like I like that a lot.
I
I like sour stuff, so it kind of it's good.
I'm not gonna lie, I might actually have to try that.
Yeah,
I've never
no,
thought about putting like lemon on it, but it
no,
seems like it would be amazing.
Plus, like the absorb, like because I think a fruit is full. Like lemon juice is obviously good for you. Watermelon's obviously good for you.
Yeah.
But no, like it works very well in the watermelon. So like, I'm a big fan of that. So
No,
I do it every time now.
I'm 100% going to try that.
Yeah,
So you just sold me on that. So,
yeah,
um, wait, let's see, is there? It's just your favorite thing, or like fruit and everything.
yeah. Probably right now. Like
Cool,
I've been going down on fruit reels recently.
awesome. And then that just leaves us with sound.
Probably binaural beats. Or silence, or like
Mhm,
honestly birds chirping and nature sounds are as good because again
mhm,
high frequency things. I try to
mhm,
avoid modern music like mumble rap and all that stuff because it's all by design. So the powers that be, they understand the frequency thing too. So like the
mhm,
frequency of modern day music is often very low on purpose to incite negativity, whereas in the past like classical music is very high. But like I
mhm.
like nature sounds. The binaural beats are really cool too. So just YouTube binaural beats and whatever one comes up, you'll see a bunch. It's
Mhm.
like it'll help you go zen pretty quickly. So that's probably my
No,
favorite
that's
time.
awesome. I'll give it. I actually might give that a shot too.
Yeah.
How did you? I'm sure it might have been from maybe one of the things you do, but how did you get in? How did you find out about binary beats? In case there's anybody looking for it.
So that was just in college. One of
Mhm,
my friends around me did that when he's studying so all the time, and he's really smart. So I'm like, oh, I'll try this too. So
mhm,
just my friend did it. But yeah, you can always YouTube it, and there's tons
mhm.
of them.
No, that's awesome. So that does wrap up the five senses for you, and they were all awesome. I really appreciate you doing that. It's always good seeing what different things have people take from life and how they think about them as far as like the little things. That leaves us with one more question, and that's our proud moment. And so, what's something that you've done recently that you're proud of?
Like I try to be proud of everything I do. So
Hmm.
I think shit because if we go back to the vibrational scale, shame is one of the lowest emotions you could feel. So I try to avoid that.
Hmm.
So the way I look at life is like, oh, the gods are always watching, and I always try to make the gods proud. So whether that be waking up at the morning, going to the
Hmm.
gym, doing good business calls, whatever. Like, I guess the proudest moment of it, my grandma recently passed away, so we were able to be
Oh,
with her till the end, like holding her
mhm.
hand. So that was a very proud but sad moment. I mean,
No,
you can throw in a bunch of random business stuff, but I think that was the most
mhm.
difficult thing I did recently.
No, I applaud you for that, and I'm happy that you guys were able to do that because I mean, there's countless people that unfortunately when they do pass, they don't have anybody with them. So if somebody can be showered with love and have the people they love around them when they do pass, I think that's an amazing thing, and that's good on you guys for being there with her.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. You hit the nail on the head. But the thing is, the love was coming from her versus us. So she was,
Yeah,
yeah, she is.
yeah, and hopefully with how energy transfers and stuff, hopefully that'll stay with you guys forever. So.
Oh, I did. So I think I saw in the clouds after. So like it was like last month. So I
Mhm,
went on a hike midday, and for the first time ever, I saw like there was a single cloud, and then the cloud was rainbow colored,
mhm.
which I've never seen before in PV. So I figured that must have been it.
Yeah, no, signs like that exist in my
Yeah.
opinion. So I think
Yeah.
you can take it. The worst you could do it put something positive back into you.
Oh, I guess since you've seen the nature stuff, those signs are called synchronicities, and the more positive you get, the more synchronicities appear in your life, and the more you notice them, it's more of like a self fulfilling prophecy. So you'll see synchronicities happen, meaning like you'll think of someone, they'll text you, the
Hmm.
right person will reach out to you via DM, the book you need will appear itself, the numbers will align. So those are called synchronicities, and that's just the universe like showing you on the right path. So the more on the lookout you can be for personal synchronicities, the
Hmm.
better I think you are. At least just have them in your consciousness, and then you'll be aware of them, and
Hmm.
you know them as they come. Like, oh, that's cool, and
Yeah,
you know when one happens too. Like you trust your gut on that.
yeah, absolutely. Believe it or not, my sister is more in tune with that
Yeah,
than I am. She constantly sees like signs of stuff that like activate in her head and stuff. So
yeah.
she'll be happy to hear that news too. So
Women are much better. Women are much better.
yeah,
Like,
absolutely. But that ends the all the questions that I have for you. I appreciate you sharing all the items and yourself with the audience. With that being said, at the end of every show, do you have anything that you want to promote? Anything you want to say or tell the audience?
yeah, sure. So I like to close with a. I think everyone is a reality creator, whether they know it or not. So
Mhm,
when you're creating your own reality or creating your own business or doing what you do in life, the two rules
mhm,
I like to follow is don't harm anyone or don't take anything away from anyone. And you should be good. And because karma is a real thing, if you disobey those two rules, come back to bite you in the ass. In terms
mhm,
of promotion, if you're interested in Web3 e-commerce, I would check out shopx.co, shopx.co. We're actually one of the we're probably the leading force in tokenizing e-commerce products. So you'll hear about us for a while. And the other one's AI powered matchmaking. It's DATAING.io. And my personal Instagram is Eric D. McHugh, ERICDMCHUGH. If you want to connect on a personal level, I like that platform just so we can do like the little voice message things.
That's awesome, and I appreciate you mentioning that. Just for the audience, also, when the video does go on to YouTube, I'll have links to everything that Eric is mentioning, the websites, Instagram, and everything, if you allow, and that way everybody can reach you as best as possible. Um, with that being said, I appreciate you being here. I appreciate the audience being here and listening to us go over Eric's favorite parts. Um, when the video does post, remember to like, subscribe, comment, do the same thing for any social medias. Again, I'll have all of Eric's information on there also, so you guys can make sure you support him also. And Eric, I appreciate you supporting me in this also too.
No, dude, thank you so much for having me. I like the way you ask questions. This is the first time I was asked about the five senses, so that was really fun.
No, I appreciate it. I always ask, but since we again this is our first time actually meeting.
Yeah.
I'll ask you too. How do you feel after everything?
Oh no, that was great. I think you're a great host. I think you're doing the right things with podcasting. I'm sure you know. It's just you just keep trucking along, and eventually it picks up. You just
Cool.
yeah,
Cool. I appreciate that. It might not be on as large a scale as yours, but same thing. I'm just trying to do something positive and
yeah.
help people out and make people happy. So
The more positivity we get, the better. And the goal of podcast, I guess, if we can raise one person's vibration just by one
mhm,
listener, they go out into the world. Since their vibe is raised, they raise
mhm,
the vibe around them, and that just creates a butterfly effect. So that's really all we're doing. Just like
mhm.
1% at a time.
I 100% agree with that. I feel like if you have good energy, energy is
Oh, it's
real.
gonna. Oh,
You pass it on. Yeah.
you can feel it. Like when someone's negative, you're just like,
Yeah.
but when you pause, everything, yeah, it's sticky. You're just like, oh,
Yeah.
but once they're done, someone's
Like
chill.
sweat.
Yeah, yeah,
No, that's awesome. But I appreciate it. Thank you for providing me an amazing episode, and hopefully, in the future we'll be able to do something too again. So
yeah. Let's stay in touch.
awesome. I appreciate you, Eric.
You too.